So students, in last class we were studying the atomic model which was given by Rutherford. Rutherford in 1911-12 proposed his atomic model, and according to him, atom is not as solid as J.J. Thomson imagined. So atom was something else. Atom was empty. I told you in last class that atom is 99.99999999% empty. So it's just like you suppose your room, your own room in which you live, there's nothing in that room, but still there's a possibility that there is a nucleus, a very tiny nucleus is there in middle of that room. So according to Rutherford, yes, there is atom and there is a nucleus actually. Which nucleus? Actually the nucleus which have the protons as a particle. This model was right. Up to some instances, it actually changed the physics, the way people think about atom. But there was a man whose name was Niels Bohr. He proposed in 1913 a new atomic model. He was the person very enthusiastic, very deterministic, very well determined. He was from Denmark. He came there in Amsterdam to do something very authentic work in physics. He too was a physicist. He worked alongside Ernst Rutherford. So in that case, he thought about atom in a very different way. He first of all analyzed the spectrum of all the different types of metals. You must have seen when iron gets hot, it starts emitting reddish yellowish color. The light, reddish, deep reddish yellowish color, or say light, a spectrum, that is the spectrum. When we analyze light with the help of a spectrometer, we can see the different components of a light. Because we all know that light is actually wave. Light is actually a wave, an electromagnetic wave. In electromagnetic wave, there is an electric wave and magnetic wave. They both corresponds to electromagnetic wave, and that is what works as a carrier for the particles. This is the wave which comes in different forms, which comes in different frequencies, and that is the electromagnetic wave. Electromagnetic wave which plays the significant part of any radiation. All the part of light is actually made by electromagnetic radiation, and that is the radiation which was studied by Sir Niels Bohr. So Niels Bohr was studying different spectrum of elements, and so he thought atom in a very different way. He thought that yes, there is a nucleus. Okay, I accept the theory of nucleus, but he imagined electron in a very different way. He imagined electron like a high-story building. You must have seen even your school has 4-story building. So you must have imagined or must have realized in your daily life that when you step up with the stair to one floor to the next floor, and from the next floor to the third floor, you have to release your energy. Or what? If you want to go from one floor to the upper floor, have you noticed that you need some extra energy to go from lower floor to upper floor? Can you go from lower floor to upper floor without any energy? That is not possible. In your chapter Work and Energy, you will see that if you want to throw any object from lower surface to upper surface against the working of gravity, you have to apply some type of energy in the form of force. So you have to apply some force, I mean energy. So if you want to put particle from one stage to another stage, and from here to somewhere else, and from here to somewhere else, if you want to release the particle, then from lower stage to upper stage, then you will have to add some amount of energy. If you again, first, second, third, 3 and 4, if you want to change this particle from position 2 to position 3, so you have to lift it up from position 2 to 3. So in that case, you must have to apply some energy. Again from 3 to 4, you must have to apply some energy to put the particle from 4th position. Now from 3rd position to 4th position. So what we see that if you want to do any work, you need some amount of energy. Because there is a nucleus. Suppose this is a nucleus. So Niels Bohr imagined atom in a sophisticated mathematical way. He said that nucleus is always attracting the electron. So maybe, just maybe, if we apply the energy to the electron will change from lower orbit to the upper orbit, and from this orbit to even next upper orbit, and even from there to even uppermost orbit. And when that electron from upper stage to lower stage comes back, then that form will release the energy in the form of discrete frequency. So this was the idea behind the new model of atom of Niels Bohr. He said that electron actually behaves like something else. Electron not revolve in circular orbit, but electron actually behaves in very elliptical orbits, very elliptical. And sometimes you can't even see that electron in a very different way. I will tell you what the modern physics conceive about the electron. So he said, Niels Bohr said that if you apply the energy to the electron, it will jump to the upper orbit. And if that electron will try to come back to the same position, it will release the energy that you had applied to the electron while jumping from 1 to 2. Okay? Or from 2 to 3, or from 3 to 4. So the same energy, if you have applied 4 joule energy to electron to go from first to second stage, so the same 4 joule energy will be released by the electron when it will come back to the first position. Why this happens? This is the property of electron. If you lift the electron from the lower orbit to the upper orbit, it will come back to the same orbit. In which time? 10 to the power minus 8 second. This is the time in which an electron, excited electron, can come back to the same ground state from the same orbit from which it was excited to the uppermost orbit. So I just want to tell you that electron has some discrete energy. This was the idea behind proposing how actually electron revolve around the nucleus, because we have seen the Rutherford model in which electron was coming back to the nucleus and was striking the nucleus, and an atom was not forming there. To form the atom, electron must be there all the time in their orbits. So Niels Bohr said that atom works like in a different manner. How? Rutherford supposed that there is a nucleus, okay, and there are some orbits. There are some orbits that he called discrete orbits. Discrete orbits. Discrete means fixed. Fixed orbits. He used hydrogen as an experimental element. He used hydrogen, okay? And he studied how electron of hydrogen, when get excited, jumps to the upper orbit, even the next upper orbit. And he proposed that actually there are not just one orbit in the atom. No matter one electron is there, but there will be several orbits in the atom. Any type of element, any type of atom you see, there are not just few orbits, there are even hundreds, there are even thousands of orbits. No matter you have electron within 10 or within 20, within 100 in the range. Orbits are in thousands, even in many. Like you must have seen, Moon is the natural satellite of the Earth. But not just one orbit are there, even there are so many orbits in which we put our satellites. So just like that, there are so many orbits that we call discrete orbits according to Niels Bohr model. He grouped those orbits and named them K group, K, L, M, N group. Actually, these are the combined state of different orbits. K, L, M, N are actually grouped of different orbits. You can say here K equal 1, L equal 2, M equal 3, N equal 4. You can calculate the total number of electrons from this formula by the formula 2n square. And in the place of n, you can put 1, 2, 3, 4. And this 1, 2, 3, 4 is just as analogous as this. 1 means about K, 2 means about L, 3 means about M, 4 means about N. If you want to know the amount of electron in the K shell, these are named as shell actually, okay? K, L, M, N are called shell, okay? So if you want to know the total number of electron in K shell, you just have to multiply 1 of square equal 2. Actually, value of K is 1, okay? Value of L is 2, value of M is 3, value of N is 4. If you want to know the total number of electron in L shell, M shell, N shell, just put the value, just put the numeral in the N. So you will get the total number of electron. This is what K shell, this is what L shell, this is for M shell, and this is for N shell. 2, 8, 18 and 32. These are the basic arrangement, but this is not at all. There are so many, still very detailed topics are hidden in this atomic model, which we will discuss in our next class. Okay? Till then, you just see this model in your book and finally use this formula yourself to calculate the number of electrons which I have done here. Okay? In next class, we will learn even more detailed points of this model, and finally we'll go into some deep factual points. Okay? Till then,